Hello again, and welcome to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I know this program today. I think the whole of today is probably going to be around the issue of around the great man here, Pa Obafemi Awolowo, the late great sage. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Had he been allowed to have been given the elections and that he clearly won against MPN, who knows what we'll be saying about contractor Nigeria today. But that will never happen. We'll never know that, of course. But let's go back to the story. There's something interesting that I want to bring to your attention here. We are trying to pinpoint and unpick where the passion for free education in late Pa Obafemi Awolowo, where it came from, where that passion, where he is a clear advocate for free education for everybody, young and old, in studying. People who are giving homes to Pa Awolowo to teach kids how to educate themselves, to educate adults, and he was an advocate for that. Now we want to be able to understand what we're saying. To see understand what we're saying here, I'm gonna have to just 1 second. I can't take that now. 1 second, please. Give me a minute. Okay, so I'll do that later. I've just need to do this now. Sorry, something came through and I had to deal with this first. So, one of the things that I'm going to go to talk about here is we often hear that he, when he became the premier for Western Region, one of the two things he did was free education and free healthcare, and they are all loosely connected. But I probably want to focus on education on this particular broadcast because I've been trying to find out as much information about that and how the education thing came about in terms of the structure in his administration. But before that, something more pertinent came up in the discussions, and I think it tells us the story and the passion, where his passion comes from. Because if a man has a passion for something this strong to benefit his people, there must be something that drove it, and that's what I'm hoping to somewhat bring out and to inspire others to begin to look at things from that point of view. He really was driven. Let's listen to this now. I'm going to just go into that section. Now let's go and look at this. And of course, we'll talk about Cocoa House, but we're going to go back here now. Now, I want you to look at something. There's something interesting that happened during his life. And oftentimes, people who are driven like that, there is something that has happened in their life, usually when they're young, that they've managed to turn it, something of a tragedy to something that they've now used to inspire and to carry out public good. Put it that way. Now let's listen to his own story. So I'm going to read a little line, now, Adefule, Awolowo's grandmother, believed that Obafemi was the reincarnation of his father, his great-grandfather. Awolowo's father's conversion to Christianity often went at odds with his family beliefs. He often challenged worshippers of gods of smallpox, Obaluayi. His father ultimately died on April 8, 1920, of smallpox when Obafemi Awolowo was 11 years old. Please listen to the story. So it gives you an idea where we're going. He attended various schools, including Baptist Big Boys High School, BBHS, Abeokuta, then became a teacher in Abeokuta, after which he qualified as a shorthand typist. Subsequently, he served as a clerk at Wesley College, Ibadan, as well as a correspondent to the Nigerian Times. It was after this that he embarked on various business ventures to help raise funds to travel to the UK for further studies. Following his education at the Wesley College, Ibadan in 1927, he enrolled at the University of London as an external student and graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Commerce Hons. He went to UK in 1944 to study law at the University of London and was called to bar by the Honourable Society of the Inner Temple on October 19th of November 1946. In 1949, Awolowo founded Nigerian Tribune, a private newspaper which he used to spread the nationalist consciousness among the Nigerians. Now, the thing I want you to look at is this area here. When his dad died, he was not able to get around and do things. There's another story which I want to bring in. I've just given you a brief rundown. Now let's go and dig a little deeper. This is permission covered by somebody else as well, but I found this very interesting. Somewhere, this is something about a story. What's the group? warp.org, something ng. They carried something which was interesting, and it gives perhaps a better insight into what really drove him. And this is the line that I want you to look at here. I want you to really understand this. It says, Awolowo pioneered primary education in Nigeria in the Western region and also free healthcare. He believed that the state should channel Nigeria's resources into education and state-led infrastructural development. This informed his decision to introduce free primary education for all and free healthcare for the children in the Western region. Listen, very, very important point. If you are wondering why free primary education was a policy close to the heart of Awu, his childhood experiences may help explain this. He said in an interview with Vanguard in February 1986, as a little boy and scholar, I lacked nothing. My school fees were paid promptly and my books were bought quite in advance. But his father died in 1920 when Femi Awolowo was 11 years old. The father whose support was gone. He was on his own. Listen, please. This is a lesson for those who are proposing to be our leaders, be it in Yoruba Nation or in current fraudulent Nigeria. Listen. Listen to what is being said here. Now, the story of the self-made man commenced from this point. From the point his dad died and there was nobody providing funds for him to study and everything else. He had to fend for himself. That's where he started saying, no, this should be provided by the state, from a young age. The story of this self-made man commenced from this point. Awolowo on his own managed to get a British education at a mission school in Ibadan, then made his way to London where he studied law. He became a barrister of the Inner Temple. Returning to Nigeria, he became an advisor to the trade unions. He did not take a strong political line against the British until about 1948. So Awo knew how tough it was to get educated and got committed, I believe, to helping the poor to get educated. Although Awolowo failed to win the 1979 and 1983 elections of the Second Republic, he polled second in the highest number of votes. Anyway, all of that was rigged. All of that was rigged. So we're not going to go into that. The reason I'm reading this section for us all is to understand the commitment of late Pa Obafemi Awolowo to education, what drove him. And that story, it was actually in Tribune. I'm going to try and find it for you. So, this is where that passion comes from. The loss of his father, who was providing everything for him when he was young. He suddenly died, and then he had to do it himself. And he didn't want to see other Yoruba kids, children across Nigeria at the time, to suffer. So in the Western region, he put it in action. The first plan to get it done: free healthcare, free education. These are things that he is an advocate for this, and he was successful at carrying it out. I put it to you that in building Yoruba Nation, in getting people together who are going to build this, there have to be people who are going to give of self for the collective, give of self, to willing to achieve something collectively for us to achieve the common goal of Yoruba Nation. So what we're doing here is to awaken and remind us the greatness that late Pa Obafemi Awolowo possesses, and even now his story reverberates through the mind. We need to feel the imagination of the coming generation with the passion that this great man had, and infuse them to want to do something for the public good that will benefit all of us. Healthcare is something that all of us will collectively benefit from. Right now in Nigeria, it's non-existent. Under Pa Awolowo, in the Western region, it was free. Is it free now? In Nigeria, it isn't. That's why we have to go for a referendum and self-determination. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. I am very, very keen to look at this story, and I'll probably do, when I find that story again, I'll bring it up. But briefly, that line. So now we understand exactly what drove him, why he was so committed to free education and free healthcare, because of the experiences he suffered in his childhood, and it never left him. Even in his old age, he still referred to it because he didn't want other children to suffer that. How many of those so-called politicians or corrupt politicians can stand on the same commitment to their people? How many of them? They're going to say vote for this. How many of them have that commitment that drove him to achieve this greatness? How many? I asked that question. So please, I want us to look at that, where the strong passion for free education in late of Pa Obafemi Awolowo came from. It is something for us to look at. Read this, listen to this this little thing I did here, and leave your comments. Let's sort of ruminate about this, because we need to. The structure for Yoruba Nation right now is really it's non-existent. We need to rebuild the new structure, but perhaps this is perhaps a way forward for us all to begin to walk around, to come gather around and look at and build something. And there's something more to be said in terms of what needs to be done going forward in remembering this great man. It was really, truly great man. There's a lot more stuff that will be said, but we're looking into it, but we'll see what we can do. But for now, it's just to remind us that together we can achieve so much more. And that's why I'm doing this series that I'm brought in today, just to try and remind us about late Pa Obafemi Awolowo. What he suffered when as a child spurred him to want to make sure that all children had free education and healthcare provided by the state, and he succeeded. Can you imagine to have an idea, to bring it to succeed, and those who saw that success didn't want it replicated nationally? That's the critical point you have to understand, and that is a clear evidence of why we need to go for self-determination and referendum right now. Referendum first, self-determination behind it, and that's where that discussion is. So I hope you found this beneficial. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please do subscribe to Citizen AY. Help us by sharing this broadcast to as many people as you can, because we're trying to really get us to really connect to our history. Many of us don't understand that history, and it is time that we begin to reconnect to it and understand how we can achieve Yoruba Nation collectively. I am yours truly, Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. The song that you hear in the background is a song I wrote. You can go down to iTunes and Spotify. It's called How Long? How long will I go to suffer? So that's the song that you hear in the background. And it's asking us, how long are we going to suffer? We need to work together collectively to free ourselves. Nobody can do it for us, but only us. When we work collectively together as Yoruba people, we can move mountains. We can do anything if we put our minds together collectively to achieve it. And Yoruba Nation is something we must achieve for the coming generation. So thank you for watching. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Please do share this podcast if it resonates with you. Thank you for watching. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Thank you and goodbye. Bye for now.